our HUM-Pudiodor digital literacy program. And today's lecture is on communication and social media. In the last lecture, we covered computer networks, and basically what that was how do computers kind of talk to each other, and for that they need the computer networks and the internet for large-scale interconnection. Today, this is more about people-to-people communication, meaning we use computers and we use computers to connect with people. So the focus is on people-to-people communication and social media. I'll explain what social media is as we go into the lecture. At the end of this lecture, you have to be able to answer questions like, what do we mean by people-to-people communication? Many of you are already familiar with it, but we will just do a broad stroke presentation on what that is. What is social media? If somebody asks you, you should be able to answer that question. Then we always have to ask the question, why should I learn something, right? There's a lot of information out there, a lot of education material out there. The question is, why do I need it? And that should help answer your question on where do you stand and what it means to you and how can you use it. Then there are so many social media platforms. We'll talk about what does a platform mean, what do social media platforms mean, how are they different. There are so many that are out there, so understanding the difference is key to how you use them, how you exploit them. Since you're all familiar with WhatsApp, I will use WhatsApp as a way for you to understand other social media apps and platforms that are out there. Then some of you may have heard of Facebook. We will talk about it. Some of you may have heard of Instagram. We will talk about it. And for today's lecture, the practical part is going to be actually presented by Dhanashri, and she's going to basically walk you through Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Now, people-to-people communication is nothing but chatting, talking, whatever you're doing on WhatsApp today, right? Even the phone call that you do is to a friend or to your family member, to your mother. It is communication. You're communicating with somebody else. So we use the phone as a tool. We use WhatsApp as a tool to communicate. Now, all we are talking about is what are the different tools that are out there for communication. So this already you're familiar with email as well. Many of you use Gmail for email. Email is actually a critical part of communication, but email is started, I think, very, very early on, way before messaging, texting, all of that. Email is a critical part of communication in businesses even today. For example, if you're looking for a job, they'll ask you to send your resume through email. So having your own email account, almost everybody, majority of the people in India have Gmail accounts. So having your own Gmail account is key, and that is your presence on the internet. But for today's discussion, we will not get too much into the email part, because email is a communication medium, but it is so different from other social media platforms. And also, a lot of you do not use Gmail. Many of you already use Gmail, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on email. But if you do have questions on email, we can hold a separate session, or you're welcome to ask questions. But remember, you do need a Gmail account. If you're ever applying for a job, you may be asked to send your resume over email. So which means having a Gmail account is good to have. But one of the reasons I'm not covering is for today's communication, right, besides sending resumes over email, a lot of the communication has been overtaken by WhatsApp and Facebook. Today's young people use different kinds of messaging apps like WhatsApp, Snapchat, and a lot of different ones. In the business space, there are other things called Slack and so on. So, so the focus is messaging and other forms of communication. Now, what is social media? Social media, it's nothing but these are all the websites and the mobile apps that support people-to-people communication, and not just people-to-people communication. They give you a lot of other facilities, and which is the focus of today's discussion. For today's discussion, I'm going to use a few new symbols which we had not used in previous lectures. And these symbols, it is good to understand how I use these symbols. So the top one, the magnifying glass, we use it to represent a search, right? Today, you're all familiar with Google search. So when you're using Google search, you are actually looking in detail into all of the information that is out there. It is like using a magnifying glass to look at something very, very specific using keywords, right? So we are going to use a magnifying glass to represent search, any generalized search, searching for information, searching for people, searching for anything, right? Now the next one, the red cylinder, we are going to use that symbol to represent a database. What is a database? A database is nothing but it is information, information stored. Almost always, you know from the first lecture that the hard drive is used to store, it's like long-term memory, and it is used to store information. It is used to store even software, right? Or the operating system, application software, everything, and data. Data and information pretty much are interchangeable in the way you talk in layman's, in the way you and I talk, right? Street level language. So database means something that has a lot of data, and how you interpret it is information. So we use the red cylinder to represent information. Information can be about people, right? If I store information about Vinod, Vinod's name, Vinod's address, Vinod's phone number, mobile number, email address, that is information. So I will store on a hard drive, and that becomes my database. If I have information on, let's say, Pudiodor, what does Pudiodor do? Where is it located? Where do they have their learning center? How do I contact Pudiodor? What is their email address? That is all information. So all of that can be stored in a database like this, which actually is information on some hard drive somewhere. We don't worry about where that hard drive is. Somebody is doing it for you. You just know that it is there. Now the next symbol, you see this guy with a megaphone. Today, I think many of you may not have seen a megaphone, but think of it like it's almost like a microphone with a speaker, right? With a very big fat speaker. So anybody who wants attention meaning I want stand on the street and I want attention. I want to be loud and I want attention. I want an audience. I want people to listen to me. So it can be a politician, it can be a celebrity. Who is a celebrity? Anybody who is very, very popular is a celebrity, right? So it can be a political leader, and in Instagram, they're called influencers, right? It can be an NGO. For example, HUM may say, I want all students to know about HUM, so I will use a megaphone to announce, talk about HUM, right? So, so that particular symbol is used to represent anybody who is trying to announce to the world something or what they're doing, what they're up to. Pudiodor could be talking about all their programs. HUM could be talking about our programs. A business could be talking about their products, right? A celebrity could be talking about, like example, Rajnikant could be talking about all the movies he's making, right? So they're all people who want others to listen to them. So we call them influencer. There are different kinds of names on Instagram. They're called influencers. So anyone who wants an audience, I'm representing them with that symbol with the megaphone. The next symbol down below is a marketplace. Marketplace where you can buy products, you can buy products, you can buy anything. For example, in Amazon in the US today, you can buy computers, you can also buy milk, right? So it is a marketplace. So a marketplace to sell almost any product. That's the symbol we are going to use. Now, how are we going to use these symbols? So on the left, basically what you have is all the social media. If you have your mobile phone, almost everybody who has any social media platform, they all have apps. Through mobile phone, you use their apps to get to their social media platform. Facebook will have their own app. WhatsApp, you already know, has their own app. Then Twitter is going to have their own app. Now, if you look at the right side, the way we are going to use these symbols is for, let's say you're the person in that blue T-shirt, right? How are you communicating with the bunch of people on the right? You're using a message, right? The message, that particular message cloud that is there, that we use to represent communication. And the people you're talking to, we say they are your network, right? Network means the people you talk to. Network can be people, network can be businesses, network can be NGOs. Anybody can form a network. You can form a network of your friends. You can form a network of businesses, NGOs. You can form a network around environment issues, right? For example, if you have water problems in Chennai, you can actually form a network around everybody talking about water problems in Chennai. Now you have a network, right? You have a network, and within the network, there are people, there can be businesses, there can be NGOs, they all have information. So we use the magnifying glass to show how to, basically you can search for people, you can search for information about the people. For example, on Facebook, which is one of the social media platforms we are going to talk about, you can search for friends who you went to school with. Maybe your friend grew up in Chennai and then he moved to Delhi, right? You can search for that friend, assuming that friend is on Facebook. So then we show the magnifying glass with the red cylinder, the database. That means you're searching for information in the database. Information, again, I talked about, it can be anything. It can be about your friends. It can be about NGOs. Somebody could be searching for all the programs that Pudiodor supports, right? So that is, again, searching through the database. The last one is the influencer, the leader, the celebrity, the NGO, the business, right? What are they looking for? They're looking for an audience. So they form a special interest grouping. Okay. In social media, some places they're called handles, social media handles, in Instagram and maybe Twitter, you have hashtags, but don't worry about specific terminology or terms or words like hashtags and social media handles. Be aware that those words exist, but for the purpose of understanding, think of it as a grouping of people or NGOs or businesses, right? A grouping where everybody has a common interest. That common interest is the special interest. So the common interest can be environment issues, it can be education, it can be about the government, how government is doing, it can be about a political party. For example, your Tamil Nadu political party could have its own special interest social media handle on Facebook, right? So that's what that means. Now we start using WhatsApp to understand other social media platforms. Now you're all familiar with WhatsApp, so we'll start stepping through how to understand all these social media platforms. So what is WhatsApp's primary purpose? It is communication with people. So you use it to connect with people. So you form connections, right? Anybody who is in your WhatsApp contact, your phone contact, WhatsApp contact list, they are the ones you're connected with. They're either your friends or they're people from a business. For example, you bought a product, right? If you brought a Wi-Fi router, then that company may have a mobile number for a customer support. So that will be in your, and they may use WhatsApp to actually connect with you, or you can connect with them. So it is used for connection. It is today HUM and Pudiodor, we use WhatsApp a lot to actually communicate within ourselves, as well as the people we provide services to. And you are those students who we provide services to. So WhatsApp is used by a lot of different people. Now the primary network in WhatsApp is, it always starts off as a friend network, meaning you connect with friends, then you connect with family, you connect with others. Then of course, beyond friends, you go into who all can you reach. You can reach family, businesses, special interests. You can form a group of just every student who goes to the particular government school that you go to, right? It's a way for group communication. So that is also possible. The type of networking that we call this social networking. Social because almost always you use it for socializing. But today, in some places, NGOs especially, it is also popular to use it professionally. Professionally meaning in the NGO space when you're doing your work, right? Your colleagues, all of that you will use. So it's also used for professional networking by small businesses and NGOs. Then how can you reach people on WhatsApp? You use messages. In your message can be text. Your message can have photos. It can have videos. It can have documents. So this is all something you're already familiar, but we are using this way of understanding WhatsApp to actually see what are the other social media platforms that are out there. So from here on, you need to pay special attention, extra attention, because you may not know all these platforms, or you may know some of it already, and you may not know everything. And that is the key: understanding social media, how to use it, and what to worry about, right? How to use it, how not to use it. All of those things you have to start paying attention to. So now the key social media platforms that are out there, and there are many more that are not covered. The most popular ones are actually here. Oh, this is very annoying. This happens all the time.
What happened?
Some particular application popped up. Some particular application popped up that took away my control for that application. Basically, some application wanted me to update some software. So I lost that thing. Okay, we are back. Is everybody able to see the screen share?
Yeah.
Okay. See, these are all the most popular social media platforms. So we are going to use the same thing that we used to analyze WhatsApp on the previous slide. So let's start with Facebook. Who's the who are the primary people that you try to connect with using? Let's look at the purpose first. I'm sorry. What is the purpose of these social media platforms? See, WhatsApp's primary purpose was communication, right? Sure, all of these help you communicate with other people in a lot of different ways, but they have multiple purposes. But there is a primary purpose, and the primary purpose with all of these is to get visibility. Visibility means telling people, I am here, I exist, look at me, right? So we'll give an example. Let's say LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the second one from the left. LinkedIn is a professional networking website and platform. It's a professional media platform as opposed to a social media platform. You don't use it to socialize with people. You use it for jobs, right? For jobs, you want visibility. You want people to know that you exist, you have a degree, you have a college degree, that you have a resume that is out there. You want people to look at your resume. That means you want visibility. So anybody who is not does not understand the word visibility, I encourage you to go to Google Translate and do a translation of visibility into Tamil or Telugu, whichever language you're familiar with. Visibility means I want others to look at me, know that I exist. And for example, if I'm looking for jobs, I want companies, businesses to look at my resume. And one of the ways to do it is to actually get onto LinkedIn, get an account, and upload your resume. So others can, when they do a search, they can see your resume. So the primary purpose of all these social media is visibility. Unlike WhatsApp, WhatsApp is not so much about visibility. WhatsApp's primary purpose is communication. But all of these, they support communication, different forms of communication, but the main focus is visibility to myself. So Pudiodor is an entity. If Pudiodor wants other people to know that they exist, the best way to do it is get on Facebook, maybe get on Instagram, maybe put up videos on YouTube so people can search for Pudiodor and what they do. So visibility is the primary purpose. Now, the primary people that you actually, what do you actually, what kind of people you go after? In Facebook, you always start off with friends, right? You start off, if you're an individual meaning like you and me, then you actually start looking for friends. You look for family, you look for relatives. You can do that with Facebook if they're all on Facebook. But the other thing is you look for an audience. We talked about why people want an audience, right? For example, if you're selling a product, you want others to know about your product. That is why you want customers, you want an audience. So almost all of these is about visibility and you want an audience. Okay, people, please go on mute if for the rest of the lecture, if you're not asking a question. So audience means you want others to listen to you, or to read whatever material you put on social media. Now, what is the type? What kind of type of networking is it? Right? Facebook is definitely starts off as a social networking platform, but Facebook has grown and now it's also about special interest networking. Special interest networking, what is that? For example, HUM is an NGO, Pudiodor is an NGO. So we can, NGO to NGO networking, you can do as a special interest networking. Supposing Shilpa is into some environmental water usage awareness or some activism, right? Something that is fond of. There are other people who are into water conservation, environment issues, all of that. You can network with all of them. That is again special interest networking. Businesses can also do that. So So that all comes under special interest networking. LinkedIn allows professional networking. You can actually connect with your colleagues. If you're working in an office, you can connect with your colleagues. You can connect with your bosses. You can connect with other people. Let's say you're working in PayPal or some payment industry, right? Payment mechanism industry. Then you can connect with people who are in the payment mechanism industry. So that is called professional networking. It also allows special interest networking. You can form groups, all of that. But almost all of those special interests are professional, like the payment industry that I talked about. YouTube is also special interest networking. It is all about different forms of video communication, right? It can be about cuisines like cooking. It can be about education, like HUM Digital Literacy. We put it out on YouTube, so it is about education. Instagram is also special interest networking, and some people do social networking also on Instagram. But Instagram is hugely popular because you can have an audience, you can have a followers, people who follow what you do or what you actually want to present. Maybe you're selling saris, right? Maybe you're selling saris that are made in Tamil Nadu, maybe saris made in West Bengal. You could actually be putting up marketing material on Instagram. Instagram allows all of that. So it is also about special interest networking and forming, having some social media handle so others can follow you. Anytime you have a new design, new sari, new product, people can know that your thing is out there. Who with, we already talked about it. Facebook is friends, family, businesses. If you look at Instagram, one of the things I learned is Instagram, young people love Instagram. So they love Instagram a lot more and they use Instagram to communicate with each other. But a lot of other people who are on Instagram are celebrities, leaders, influencers, NGOs, businesses. Almost all of these allow you all the things that you can do on WhatsApp. You can post messages with text, photo, video, documents. But the thing about all of these that is different from WhatsApp is you can do a search on everybody else's message. You can do a search on other people's posts. You can do a search on other people's things. So those are the key things to understand as in social media platforms. On this slide, I'm showing you how some businesses, right, and NGOs use social media. I talked about it, but now I'll tell you some very specific things. Now we are reintroducing WhatsApp as a social media platform. So under WhatsApp, everything that is in green, you see the very first person under that WhatsApp symbol. The guy on the right in the photograph is Prabhakar. Prabhakar is a Madhubani artist. He makes Madhubani art, and it's a special kind of art, very, very old art. And he makes the art on cloth, different kinds of fabrics, and he sells it. He puts it on saris, he puts it on dupattas, and he sells it. And he works out of Bihar. He uses WhatsApp primarily to communicate with customers for a small business, right? Anytime he has new designs, he communicates, sends pictures of the designs to his customers. So that is Prabhakar. So if any of you are planning to have a business in the future, you can use WhatsApp to connect with customers. You can use WhatsApp to actually present your business side of it. Then Sadhana's is a new catering thing that has come up. She may use WhatsApp to communicate with potential clients. Clients means customers. And for basically when you're doing catering, food catering, what do you want? You want orders, food orders. So you can actually communicate with customers. You can try to get the order. Then Sadhana, for example, could use Facebook also to actually have visibility for the catering business. and to do the exact same thing, communicate and get orders. Now in Facebook, you see that lady with the mask and the little child. She is actually somebody I know. She lives in North Carolina, United States. She runs a very small business. What does she do? She buy a lot of consumer products in wholesale. Wholesale means in large numbers, right? At a very cheap price. And then she resells those products to friends and people she knows. How does she do that? On Facebook, through her account, she publicizes all the products that she now has for sale, and people will know what she is going to buy, what she has, and they will contact her to purchase it. So that's a small business she's running. At the very bottom is House of Mirror, the one in blue, MIRRAH. What do? They actually are a very small business. They want visibility for their products and services, and they use Facebook. Now Mira is also on Instagram. Now one of the most popular persons on Instagram is that lady with the yellow shirt, right? Her name is Kylie Jenner. She sells beauty products, makeup and beauty products. She has millions of followers on Instagram, and her business is supposed to be a $1 billion business. So some of you who attended the English skills class know that 1 billion has 9 zeros, right? So any questions so far? Okay, we like last time, we are going to have we have an interactive session. We'll have 2 quizzes during this lecture, and during that the quiz, you can also ask questions and you can answer the questions that I ask. Now for social media platforms like WhatsApp, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, everything. WhatsApp is one place, of course, you cannot automatically have visibility, but all others you can have visibility. Now visibility means it's very public. So there is how much private you want your information to be. Private means nobody knows about you. You do not want other people to know about you, your business, whatever, right? That is called privacy. Privacy means I do not want others to kind of see what I'm doing, or I don't want others to know what my birthday is, when my birthday is, and whether I'm having a party or not, right? That whole idea is called privacy. Now, WhatsApp by nature, right, by design, you can communicate with the friends, only the friends you want, but everybody else cannot see your message, right? They cannot see your message, they cannot see your group unless they are in the group with you, or unless they are communicating directly with you. So the general public has no access to your information, and that means it is by design very private. Okay, so this is something you have to understand about social media. The idea about privacy, the idea about what is private and what is public. So if you go to Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all these other social media platforms, by default, a lot of what you put on Facebook, Instagram, all these other places is public. In order for you to have something very private, others cannot see, in the account that you have on that social media platform, you need to go into your profile settings, look for privacy settings, and turn on the privacy setting, so that way whatever you post there is not public information. But most of them by design, by default, will be public. Okay, so that's something you have to keep in mind. How much of what you post is private, all of that, and you may not have too much flexibility. That's something you have to understand by getting into the account. The next thing about social media is about truth. What are facts? What are truths? Right? I'm assuming all of you have had some English education, English language education, and you understand what truth means. Truth that in Kannada is what is Nija, and in Tamil maybe what is Nijam. I hope I got it right. But if you do not know what truth means, please go to Google Translate and find out the meaning in Tamil. I will give you an example of a truth or a fact, right? If you say the earth is spherical, the earth is spherical, then that is a truth. That is a fact. It has been proved by people, not only with science, but also by experimentation. Meaning, if you go around the world in a boat, of course, you can see that it is spherical, right? That is the truth or fact. On social media and the World Wide Web, if you do a search and see if the earth is spherical, you will find information that the earth is spherical. But if you look for information to see if the earth is flat, you will also see information that says the earth is flat. So that's one of the problems with social media. You have truth and facts, and you will also have untruths and falsehoods. Okay. So the reason you get into untruths and falsehoods is at the top of this diagram here, you have people and special interest groups, and people have opinions. Opinions means, what do I think of something? What do I think of the earth? If I say the earth is flat, that means it is my opinion. It is not the truth. It is just my opinion. So on social media, a lot of what you see will be opinions of people, opinions of special interest groups. Then at the bottom, you have businesses and special interest businesses that are doing marketing on social media. What is marketing? Marketing means pushing, presenting their products in positive light. Positive light means showing all good things about their product, talking about all the best things about their product. That is marketing. So people use Facebook, all these social media platforms to market their products. But marketing can have some truth and some untruth, right? So if you go from left to right, on the left you have untruths and falsehoods. On the right you have truth and facts. So the thing you have to be careful on social media, you cannot believe everything you see on social media. So you have to be very careful. You have to verify what people say. You have to verify what companies say. You have to verify what businesses say. So you have to know how to verify, right? And how to verify is something that is not the focus of today's discussion, but you have to know, if you go on social media, there will be a lot of good things, and there will be some untruths and some falsehoods. So that is something you have to be prepared for. Now it's time for an interactive session. So as before, you can basically unmute yourself and answer the question. Or if you choose, you can use a chat response. Okay. So very first question, or anybody and everybody can answer. Who all can you communicate with using social media? Okay. Who's paying attention here? Anybody paying attention to the lecture? Who all can you communicate using social media? Either WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Who can you communicate with?
I'll just repeat the question in Tamil. அதாவது நம்ம யாரெல்லாம் தொடர்பு வச்சுக்கலாம் இன்டர்நெட் மூலமா? வாட்ஸ்அப், இன்ஸ்டாகிராம், ஃபேஸ்புக் எல்லாமே யூஸ் பண்றீங்க இல்லையா? ஸோ அது மூலமா யாரோட நம்ம கான்டாக்ட் வச்சுக்கலாம்னு கேட்குறாரு.
Family, friend.
Can you
Family, friend, relationships.
Right, very good. And besides family, friends, who else? You can communicate with businesses, NGOs. Today with HUM and Pudiodor, you communicate using WhatsApp, right? With NGOs, businesses, small businesses use it a lot. For Facebook is also used by big businesses. And in LinkedIn, you can use it to communicate with companies that are hiring, like employing people. You can communicate with recruiters. Who are recruiters? The recruiters are people who are looking to match people with jobs. People who have resumes, people who, and there are jobs with companies. The recruiters are the people who do the matching. So recruiters are there on LinkedIn. Next question. Which platform is the best to look for jobs?
LinkedIn.
Very good. And that is the LinkedIn symbol. So all of you who are finishing college, let's say in a few years, remember that once you finish college, it's a good idea to put up your resume on LinkedIn. Okay. But again, remember, social media is not all good. There are some bad things. So you have to be very, very careful about talking to strangers, people who you do not know. So you have to learn how to do verification, okay? And that is not the focus of this discussion, but if you ever want to know, you can contact me or anybody else. Next question. When we get on social media, what is something we should worry about, or what is it something that we should know happens on social media? The diagram is right there.
Truth and false. Truth
Yes.
and false.
Yes. On social media, there will be truths, there will be facts, there will also be untruths, there will also be falsehoods. So you have to be careful. Okay. If somebody sends you a message saying the earth is flat 10 days continuously, do you believe that the earth is flat?
No.
You have to verify. If you already know that the earth is not flat, then you do not believe it. But if you do not know, then you have to verify. Next question. What is privacy?
Restrictions. Limited people to know.
Privacy is not wanting, basically the idea of privacy is you do not want others to know everything about you. Maybe if you are looking for a job, you want them to know you're looking for a job, but you do not want them to know how many brothers and sisters you have, right? The idea of privacy is how much to limit information that you present to others. So knowing how privacy works in privacy settings work in Facebook, Instagram is key. So today Dhanashri will walk you through how to create an account, how to log in, all of that. But how to get into privacy details may be too much to do in this session. But if you are interested, we can always talk about it. Next question. Which platforms are best if you're looking for an audience for your business? Anybody wants to take a shot? Anyone wants to answer? You can give any answer.
Facebook.
Yeah. Your Facebook, you can use Facebook to get an audience for your business. You can use YouTube for video communication to get an audience for your business. You can use Instagram for, again, different forms of communication to get an audience for your business. You can use Twitter. We are not going to talk a whole lot about Twitter because the likelihood of any of you using Twitter is far lower than you using Facebook or Instagram. But Twitter, think of Twitter as something that allows you very small messages, 140 character length messages, right? Something like news, putting out news kind of thing. Twitter is also useful for those kind of things, but Twitter does allow you to post media like photos and videos. Which platforms are best if you're looking for an audience for environment issues? And what are environment issues? Water conservation, water problems, rainfall problems, devastation by cyclones, they're all environment issues. Hello, somebody, if you want to answer, please answer, otherwise go on mute. So I'm going to answer all these for you. Again, you can use Facebook, you can use Twitter, you can use Instagram, you can use YouTube. It is up to you to figure out how to use these platforms to the best this thing. Something that is most general purpose and flexible in a lot of different ways is Facebook. So a lot of people go to Facebook first for getting an audience. Again, Facebook is the platform people use to organize people. People also use Twitter to organize people. For example, if people want to organize a protest, right? Farmers protest. Farmers protest. The meaning of protest, go to Google Translate and look up the meaning. The spelling is P-R-O-T-E-S-T. When farmers come together to protest, how do you organize people? People use Facebook, people use Twitter. Now we go into direct comparison, head-on comparison between all of these. I've already covered most of these, but we'll quickly run through a direct comparison. So the three most important social media platforms, WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram, incidentally, all three are owned by Facebook, okay? Facebook, the company, owns WhatsApp, the platform, and Facebook, the company, owns Facebook, the platform, and Facebook, the company, owns Instagram, the platform, okay? So each of these, WhatsApp, Facebook have close to 2 billion users each. Instagram has 1 billion user base, and we know 1 billion is 9 zeros. That's a lot of people, 100 crores, right? 1 billion is 100 crores. So Facebook has 2.5 billion users. WhatsApp has close to 2 billion users. Instagram has 1 billion users. So that's a lot of people. Now, when so many people are on Facebook, WhatsApp, the question you have to ask yourself is, how can I use these social media platforms to benefit me, to benefit my business, to benefit my company, to benefit my organization, right? Wherever I work. So the direct comparison, all of them allow some form of connections. In WhatsApp, you know them as contacts. In WhatsApp, it's in Facebook, it's about your network, your friend network, your family network. All of them allow you to post messages, text messages, photo messages, video messages, and documents. Then all three support forming groups. You can form groups of people. Now, all of them have stored information, messages, contacts in some form or the other, okay? Now, the private search in this database. Today in WhatsApp, you can do a search in your messages, you can do a search of your groups, you can do a search of your contacts, right? That is a very private search, meaning you're doing it and nobody else can look into your thing. That is also possible with all three. Now, the last one, special interest grouping. Somebody who wants an audience, somebody who wants followers, right? Celebrity, influencer, business, office, whatever. How do they do it? They set up something called a social media handle on these different social media platforms. In the case of WhatsApp, you can form a group. You can form a group. For example, we have a HUM students group. For this particular lecture, we have HUM-Pudiodor computer group, right? In other places, you can form regular groups. You can also form special interest grouping, right? Based on topic, based on something. They're all called social media handles. Now, these are things that you cannot do or is not done on WhatsApp today, but it is done a lot on Facebook and Instagram. Businesses, individuals and NGOs, they can advertise, have advertising messages in your Facebook account, in your Facebook messages, in your Instagram account, in your Instagram messages. But today in your WhatsApp, when you do messages, all of that, you do not see ads, right? The other thing is the public search. Other people being able to search information about you, your messages, which group you belong to, all of those are done in Facebook and Instagram, but WhatsApp gives you some privacy. You don't have all of those issues. The other thing is general information, marketing, politics, lifestyle, special interests. Those are all possible on Facebook and Instagram, but on WhatsApp, you cannot just read news, right? It is only the messages you send and your friends send, that is it. News, if your friends send you news, you get the news, otherwise you don't. But in Facebook, you can have news, somebody presenting news, and you can just go search and look it up. Then marketplace. Facebook has a marketplace where people can purchase products, people can sell products. In WhatsApp, we do not have a marketplace. Instagram allows a marketplace. So this is the last slide before with the next quiz. On the left, we have the World Wide Web, which you're very familiar with. You know how to go to websites, you know how to do Google search, and it is all sitting on top of the internet, right? So all the companies that are there in the World Wide Web, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, whatever the services they offer, search, marketplace, anything, it's all things you do using your web browser. Now Facebook, if you log into Facebook, it is like a mini internet, right? There are lots of people, 2.5 billion people in Facebook. There are lots of businesses, lots of this thing. You can do a search there. You have a marketplace. So it's a whole universe by itself. So when you get into Facebook, again, Facebook makes sure you stay inside Facebook. So they present you almost everything. Same with Instagram. So so a lot of things, but the only difference is on the World Wide Web, anything that is out there on the internet, you can find through the World Wide Web, facts, truths. But other places, you have to be very, very careful. You could have a lot more marketing, you could have a lot more opinions, a lot more special interest discussions. So those are things you have to be careful about. So this is the second quiz before our practical session. So question number 1, same thing. You can, any of you can unmute yourself and answer the question. If you're not answering, please stay on mute. What can you do on Facebook and Instagram that you cannot do on Facebook? Give me one example or 2 examples.
Selling products.
Sorry, can you repeat that? You know,
Selling products.
selling products, marketplace. Very good, fantastic answer. Anybody else? What else can you do on Facebook, Instagram that you cannot do on WhatsApp?
I just ask in Tamil. எல்லாருக்கும் கேள்வி புரிஞ்சுதா? புரியலைன்னா ரிப்பீட் பண்ண கேட்கலாம், ஓகேவா? ஸோ நான் இது தமிழில் கேட்குறேன். அதாவது ஃபேஸ்புக், வாட்ஸ்அப்பில் பண்ண முடியாதது என்னது நம்ம ஃபேஸ்புக்லேயும் இன்ஸ்டாகிராம்லேயும் பண்ணலாம். வாட்ஸ்அப்பில் பண்ண முடியாதது ஃபேஸ்புக்லேயும் இன்ஸ்டாகிராம்லேயும் பண்ண முடியறது, அது என்னது அப்படின்னு சொல்ல முடியுமான்னு கேட்குறாரு. ஸோ உங்களுக்கு ஏதாவது கேள்வி புரியலை அப்படின்னா அப்படியே மியூட் எடுத்து கேளுங்க. நாங்கள் யாராச்சும் ஒருத்தவங்க டிரான்ஸ்லேட் பண்ணி தரோம், சரிங்களா? ஓகே, சொல்லுங்க பதில்.
Marketing and advertising.
Right. Advertising, product advertising, marketing. WhatsApp, you don't see advertising today. But Facebook, the company, can any day decide to do advertising on WhatsApp. And we don't know if they will do it and when they will do it. But on Facebook and Instagram, it is already happening. Next question. This is just a true or false question. WhatsApp allows other people to search your contacts and messages.
False.
Is it true or false?
False. False.
False.
False.
It is false. Today, other people, for example, Padmaja, who is on the call, lecture today, she cannot search my messages, my information, my database. But in Facebook, a lot of information is public. Okay, so you can search. So is Instagram. They are designed to be public. Okay, next question, true or false? Actually, I'm not able to see this question properly. True or false? A lot of what you post on Facebook is public information. True or false? I think I already answered the question, but you guys can tell me if it is true or false.
True. True.
True, yes. A lot of information by default on Facebook and Instagram is public information. So you have to be careful about what information you put out on Facebook and Instagram. What is the difference between searching on the World Wide Web versus searching on Facebook? You can give any answer, any answer, any example. What is the difference?
Worldwide is a bigger web. Facebook is just a small segment of it.
Correct. Well, Facebook is everything that is inside Facebook. For example, if you have a news media called BBC, and BBC has a website called news.bbc.co.uk, that news will not be on Facebook, but that you can find through World Wide Web. So World Wide Web is bigger. Facebook is smaller. The other thing is Facebook is designed to actually get an audience, is designed for visibility. So you have to be careful about truths and facts, right? And you will have a lot of opinions on Facebook. You will have opinions on the World Wide Web also, but you will also have a lot more truths and facts. So be very careful about how you use it. Always figure out if you're on Facebook, what is the reason you're on Facebook? Why? How do you want to use it? The next thing, true or false, I think the answer was already given. WhatsApp does not support advertising today, but Facebook, Instagram do. I think the next one, which social media platform supports a marketplace? The marketplace one was already answered by Vinod. Both Facebook and Instagram have support marketplaces, whereas WhatsApp does not support a marketplace. So are there any questions before we switch to the practical session?